Do you think there's an actual benefit for an athlete in being well liked, the way there is a tangible benefit for a politician being well liked? If you're better liked, you get elected. But when I think about LeBron James and certain superstars, they probably sell just as well and are just as relevant, even if they're hated. So do you think what motivates them to try to be framed in such a way is just a natural human inclination to be accepted and to be loved, or do you think that it's just cynical and that there's actually a tangible benefit in framing yourself that way?
Well, I think that one of the things that an athlete and to some extent a musician has style. And so I think that, a politician who's, sure, somebody like LBJ back in the day was regarded as this legislative wizard, and maybe, somebody like current presidential candidate Rick Perry is regarded as this tall Texan who, don't take no guff kind of thing. But I think for the most part, Charles Barkley was augmented by his style. He was a round, relatively little guy who went up and grabbed rebounds. He was a relentless, dedicated bulldog in the paint. And I think that supplements Charles Barkley's, I don't give a crap what you think, this is what I say, very, very well. And I think that's one of the reasons for his success personality-wise. I think that if you looked like Steve Nash and talked and acted like Charles Barkley, it wouldn't be nearly as effective. I think that I think an athlete's style and an athlete's persona sometimes dovetail into each other. At least the successful ones dovetail into each other nicely, and I think that's why, like a Kobe Bryant, for example, is still popular in his own way because he's got that, whether you agree with it or not, he'll take the clutch shot. He's killer in the clutch. He's the Black Mamba. He's the guy. And he's also got that kind of, I don't really care what you think one way or another. In fact, I'll blow you off if I feel like it attitude. That, again, kind of dovetails into the style of play he has. I think when you get that attitudinal posture mixing with the way a guy plays, that it can be very effective, and it can be even more effective with a politician than it can be with a musician. I mean, even more effective with an athlete than it can be with a musician or a politician.
That's a great point. That's something I've actually never considered before, how Barkley's play informed his personality post-career. Going in a completely different non-basketball
Sure.
direction, you've written about music, and whenever I've looked up reviews on Metacritic where they kind of curate and come out with a composite rating, I've always noticed that between TV shows and movies and CDs, they don't have the highest ratings. People can agree on something like a TV show or a movie and say that it's fantastic. They have video game reviews. Video game reviews can get to 99 or 100, but it is very hard for people to agree on just a CD being good. And I guess I have sort of two connected questions. The first is, why do you think music is so subjective? And I wouldn't want to be asked that question. I think that's difficult, and I certainly couldn't answer it. But that's number one. And number two, do you think that subjectivity makes it difficult to write about?
No, I'll answer the last part first. I review things subjectively. I mean, I've had a lot of people come up to me and say, hey, why in the world did you diss my record? Why didn't you like the record? Or, I can't believe you did this or that. And I always say to them, I don't have a choice in the matter. I mean, I listen to something and I like it or don't like it, and then I start to figure out why I don't like it or why I like it. It isn't like you go in saying, I'm going to like this or not going to like this. So it is a totally subjective process. The objectivity comes in trying to figure out why you are subjectively against something or why you are subjectively for something. And I think one of the reasons, to get back to your first question as to why music doesn't have the unanimity of applause or negativity, perhaps, that others do, I think is because music has this fabulous capacity to link what is ethereal and spiritual in the world, however you regard spiritual, with something concrete, with having to know the chord changes in jazz, know the head arrangements, or know the conservatory training if you're a classical musician, or know how to affect or embody the right attitude if you're a punk rocker. I think it really is something where this mixture of what's inside you and what you have to do in terms of discipline to evoke what's inside you is a magical process. And I think even more than art or some of the other artistic disciplines, I think music is the one place where you kind of bridge the sacred and the profane without getting too highfalutin about it. It's a place where somebody can move you with music in ways that you can't be moved any other way than if you fall in love with somebody. I mean, it really is a deep thing. And I think that's why, because people really start to care about this. I mean, if you've really been affected by one type of music and somebody puts out something that you feel kind of besmirches or defames that type of thing that you love so much, you're really going to actively dislike that. And I think that everybody has a different spiritual sweet spot. And I don't think, whereas a video game, the idea is just to get somebody pumped up, just to get somebody engrossed in something. Or a television show, it's kind of trying to find the highest common denominator. But it's better than the lowest common denominator, but it's still a common denominator. And that's what television's all about, trying to find a common denominator, even now. Music has gone the other direction. Music, if anything, is more splintered than ever. People can grab whatever song they want to off the internet or off a cloud and, just ride with it. And that's their sound. That's their soundtrack. They can put in their buds, the same thing I have in my ears right now, and soundtrack their lives. And that's a very personal, subjective thing.
Oops. All right, Britt, that is all the time we have, unfortunately, tonight. This has been really cool. I hope we can do this again soon. Again, this is Britt Robson, not Miles Brown. He's using Miles' computer because Miles is such a kind gentleman.
Because I'm technically illiterate, yeah. Well, it's because I need somebody to set me up, and Miles was in town, so that's why I'm Miles.Brown at Twitter. He hasn't undergone some kind of weird whitening process.
He puts on
Not
the
yet.
hat, and all of a sudden, yeah. Zach is seeing what he can do about that, I hear. But taking him to clubs where they play a lot of Christina Aguilera.
They're taking shots at you.
Thanks a lot,
They
Britt.
always are.
We'll see you later.